Well, thank you so much for joining us today. This is Coach Chris Wilson with Team Critical Bench, and I am very happy to have on the line with me today Mr. Nick Nilsson, the mad scientist of building muscle, and we are going to talk about muscle explosion, which is a very in-depth PDF, ebook, whatever you want to call it, 28 days to maximum mass, and Nick has left no stone unturned with this product, and we're going to just dive right into all of the content. Nick, welcome, my friend.
Thanks very much, Chris. Good to be on here.
Yeah, man, we're happy to have you. You're getting into some principles and stuff with kind of your own twist, and it was fun for me just reviewing the product, just looking at some things that I want to try myself. Why don't I just get right into one of the principles that you really get into, which is compound exercise overload, the CEO technique. Obviously extremely involved, lots of different details there, but what comes to mind when somebody wants to ask you about CEO in general?
Yeah, that's literally one of my very favorite training techniques, and what I like to compare it to is kind of like a sledgehammer of muscle building, because basically this program just gives your body no choice, and that technique is pretty much one of the most powerful training techniques I've ever come up with. I'll give you kind of a quick rundown of what it entails. Now, the first week of the program sets up that week of CEO training. The first week is basically, to sum it up very simply, it's like a very strict diet. And then the following week, you rebound with everything you've got. You rebound with massive food eating. You rebound with massive training overload. And that's what this CEO training is. It is massive overload on your body. And I'm talking literally, you will be compressing 6 months of training into 5 days. And I know it sounds like an exaggeration, but it actually isn't, because you're going to be doing about 200 sets of one exercise over the course of 5 days. And it's insane. And the first time I tried this technique, I did it for just 1 day. I did it for 40 minutes, and I actually gained 25% strength in the lift that I was doing. I did it for dumbbell shoulder press, and the day I was doing it, my max was about 65-pound dumbbells for a set of 8 reps. After doing this technique, I came back on Monday, and I did 85-pound dumbbells for 11 reps, exact same form, and that's just ridiculous, as you can tell.
Wow, yeah, that's an insane jump. I mean, that's like 50, that's almost 50%. I mean, well, I guess not quite 50, but like 40%.
Yeah, I was actually like literally shocked. I was grabbing the dumbbells to do the warm-up, and, I got to the weights that I was using, and I'm like, man, these still feel like a warm-up. So I went up even higher, and I had never done, 85s for shoulder press, strict dumbbell shoulder press, and I was like, plowed out 11 reps with that. I'm like, holy jeez.
Well, yeah, I mean, considering you not only increased the weight by 20 pounds, but you also added 3 more reps. So I mean, that is, I guess it's mathematically maybe challenging to figure out how much of a percentage increase that is, but that's huge, especially in 1 week.
Oh, exactly. That one wasn't even 1 week. That was like 1 day of this kind of training. So what I do in the Muscle Explosion program is 5 days in a row of this kind of training. Now, I'll kind of give you the rundown of how it works. It's very simple, actually. You take a weight that you can normally do about 6 or 7 reps with, and you start by doing a set of 3 reps with it. Then you put the weight down, you rest 30 seconds. Then you pick it up again, and you do 3 more reps. So it's very much like a German volume training approach, where you're not going to failure, but you're just going for overall training volume. So you just keep on repeating those 3 rep sets until you get to a point where it's going to be hard to get that 3rd rep, where you can hit 1 or 2 reps, and you really have to push it to get that 3rd rep. That's when you stop, you strip 20 pounds off the bar, and you go again. And you repeat this sequence, doing 3 rep sets, 30 seconds rest, until the specific time frame of the workout is over. And that's all you do. This entire 2nd week of the program, that is all you do, just 1 exercise for very high volume. And I think one of the main reasons it gives you such a good strength jump is it's training your nervous system, kind of like greasing the groove, where your body is basically just focusing on that one movement pattern and learning it so well that your body just has no choice but to get stronger at it.
And I have to imagine, obviously, there's an efficiency that you build up too, right? Because obviously, strength is the driving force, but technique, when you do something repetitively, you master it in essence, right? So your body just, your motor pathways are just like at a heightened ability.
Exactly. And there's a quote about that sums that up just beautifully, and it's your body becomes its function. And during the course of those 5 days, your body literally becomes the exercise that you're working on. The first time I did this 5 days in a row, I did deadlifts. And I think on that one, I ended up gaining about 60 pounds on my max deadlift over the course of the next couple of weeks once I recovered from that training. It's like literally ridiculous. I've had one guy use this program. He gained, no kidding, I was even skeptical of this. He gained 120 pounds on his max deadlift within the space of the 28 days of training here over this program.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's insane. Yeah, because after looking at it and like thinking about it, and you refer to this as the 5-day structural attack, which is exactly what it is. You're just hitting that same movement so many times, several days in a row. It's kind of scary at the same time, but I think for guys who are into weight training, scary is also very interesting, because you want to experience it. You want to, can I do it? Is it possible? And what kind of impact will it have on me and my numbers? We live in such a world of like instant gratification. This is like a way to instantly see muscle strength. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, literally, you are making your body do this exercise so frequently and so often that it also, I find, it wipes out most weak points of an exercise too. Because as you're doing this high volume, you're hitting that weak point so frequently and so often that you just kind of wallpaper right through it, and it no longer is a weak point. And, if that's something that's been holding you back, this is a way to blast through it, and it absolutely works pretty much every time. It's just that massive overload coming off the diet week especially. You get such a big rebound off of that. It's an incredibly anabolic time for your body, and what I've got in the program is everything targeted to depleting you as much as possible in the first week and then rebuilding you as much as possible in the second week, and just kind of overloading during that second week. And then the third and fourth week, you just back off, reduce the volume, increase the intensity level so that you're actually building strength once you built the muscle from that second week. And it's very much physiologically oriented how I structured the program, and it's incredibly effective.
One quick point too I want to touch on before I get into the next question is I think you pretty much say your recommendation is to do this with deadlift or squat. Isn't that correct?
It is, yeah. The first time through, absolutely.
Right, and the reason behind that is that you basically are saying, and I'm in 100% agreement with, is that there's no two movements on the planet that have more impact on your whole system. All of your muscles, the muscles in the chain, however you want to say it, than the squat and the deadlift, and because of that, they become the two primary movements for this type of 5-day attack.
Exactly, and that's exactly the reason. Is you really, the first time especially that you go through this, you really want to see what your body is capable of. You do squats or deadlifts, and you can literally gain, even if you're an experienced trainer, even if you've been training 20, 30 years, you can gain 5 to 10 relatively lean pounds. I'm not going to say it's going to be completely fat-free, but relatively lean pounds in the course of this program, and it's pretty impressive what you can do with it, even for advanced trainers. This is not just like a beginner hard gainer program. This is not a beginner program at all. This is for the guys who've been training a while, looking for something new, looking for something effective that really gets the job done here and really challenging. Yeah.
No, I think it's pretty cool, and I like how in depth you get with. I mean, this is a substantial product here, and we're talking a couple hundred pages, and obviously we'll get into some of the other variables and things that you get into, which it would be like during your hypertrophy phase for strength. you get into 1 1/4 training and TUT, time under tension. Will you just kind of share with us your experience with doing 1 1/4 pressing, and maybe our listeners aren't that familiar with 1 1/4s or how they work?
Yeah, absolutely. Once you come off that second week of massive overload training, your body needs a break. Your nervous system will be pretty much shredded. So that's when we switch to a different style of training. And the first couple of training days are the 1 1/4 rep training, which is very focused on time under tension. And that is one of the major mechanisms by which muscle grows. And that's exactly what I've gone for with this type of training. So basically, with the time under tension bench press, for example, you're going to do 1 1/4 reps with the quarter at the bottom. Now, imagine you're starting at the top of bench. Lower it down to your chest, press it up a quarter of the way. I like to do basically just right under the sticking point or right up to the sticking point.
Yeah.
And then back down, and then all the way back up again. Now, you're using a relatively light weight here, something you could easily get 13 to 15 reps with, or even a lot more. But because you're doing a very focused tension kind of movement, you're not using any momentum at all, is what I should be saying here. It's very much mentally trying to squeeze the muscle as hard as you can. You're doing a very robotic kind of movement. You're lowering it, pausing at the bottom. You're putting it up a quarter, pausing there, lowering it again, pausing, and then coming back up, squeezing the muscle the entire time. So this maximizes that time under tension. And the best part of that bench press, the most tension you're going to get on the chest is in that bottom quarter. So by spending more time in that bottom quarter, you're really going to develop a lot more tension in the pecs. And this kind of technique is applied to every other body part as well. So it's not hard on the nervous system, it's hard on the muscle fibers. So we're kind of switching things up a little here and targeting the muscle fibers themselves here with this time under tension.
Right, exactly. And that's a big differentiation for people who aren't, some people aren't aware of the different ways you can tax your system. And you have different systems. You have the muscular system, you have the nervous system. And when you're doing extremely heavy loads with lower rep ranges, like power lifters and stuff, obviously you just get really strong, but it's extremely stressful for your nervous system. But if you really want to kind of have more impact on muscle size, you usually work with more volume-oriented things for hypertrophy, and it's much less stressful for your nervous system.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of take all that into consideration when you're planning out a program, because you have to know exactly when you should back off and the purpose that you're backing off, and you're not just doing randomly, because it might work for a little while or it might not even work at all. But if you do it in a very targeted fashion, you can actually have each phase build on each other, so you're getting the benefits of both plus a little bit more.
I like it. I definitely like how you get into so many, in just like that 28-day period. There's so many different levels or layers, like an onion, to it. It's easy to get excited about it because there's something new every week, that you're kind of focused on, and that's what people usually. That's what a lot of people lack, and what keeps them from making gains is that diversity or that change up of things that they're doing.
Exactly,
so cool.
Exactly, and you have to know exactly how to apply it too. And when you look at the program, the first week there's a lot of different training styles in the first week. The second week, you're just doing one thing. So for building strength, that's critically important. You need to give your body a stimulus that it knows how to and what to adapt to. If you're trying to build muscle, you can't be hitting your body with a variety of different things all at once. We're basically drilling down that second week, focusing on just one thing. Then the next week, you're changing things up a little bit. You're using a variety of different training styles again, which allows your body to recover from that massive focused workload that you put on the previous week. And everything, it basically builds on the previous thing that you've just done. So the results you get, it just stacks up, and that's the beauty of this program.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's very goal specific, which is great. Could you touch on, because it's obviously a very cool thing to do as well, is the cluster training. having several mini sets, and why that's such a great way to build mass?
Absolutely. In the Muscle Explosion program, I have it set up as single rep cluster training, and basically this type of training is not about mass. This is about building strength and very near limit strength. So after you've done the time under tension stuff, then we switch to something that's very low rep. And the way I like to do it is very much like a rest pause set, where you're doing around 90 to 95% of your 1 rep max. And you're going to do one single rep, set the bar down, rest 20 seconds. One more single rep, set the bar down, rest 20 seconds. And you can do this for 4 to 6 reps. And what this does is it allows your body to get some of that recovery in the ATP PC system, which gives you some of the fast energy, basically, the fast energy systems.
Right.
It allows you to rebuild it. It allows you to train at that higher intensity level, defined by percentage of 1 rep max, than you could normally do if you tried to do, 3 to 5 reps in a row. So, for example, with a weight that's 95% of your 1 rep max, maybe you could get 2 or 3 reps with it. With this technique, you can get 5 or 6 reps with it. So you're getting a higher volume at a higher level of intensity while you're doing this training. And, I did some experimentation with how much of this you should actually do, and I did get myself to the point where I was doing too many reps. So I've basically narrowed down the focus to just 4 to 6 reps of this style of training. It really is great for the nervous system as well, because you're not overloading with, way too much volume for very high level, for very high volume as well. So by doing it in this fashion, you get enough recovery. And because you're still coming down from the massive overload from the previous week, your body's still kind of ramped up. So you're actually gaining strength very, very quickly here. And, the weights that you normally were struggling with within a couple of weeks, you're going to be like, using those for your warm-ups. It's just unbelievable sometimes what you can get with this.